Hey there and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, welcome to my channel and thank you so much for being here. If you're new, make sure you subscribe before you leave, and if you're a returning subscriber, if you haven't already, hit that little bell down below for notifications on when I upload new videos. I upload twice a week. Okay, so I actually had zero plans to record today. And although it's like a beautiful and sunny day and I've actually had like a lot of really good experiences today, I had a panic attack, which wasn't fun, and I feel like I'm gonna cry just talking about it. But it kind of has inspired me to sit down here and talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for quite some time with you guys. And that is the fact that I have an anxiety disorder. I have extreme anxiety, and I've actually been on Zoloft for, I think this is like the third month now, and I figured there are probably a lot of us right now who might not have really like experienced anxiety previous to our current situation and our current time, or maybe you're having panic attacks or whatever, and sometimes just talking about it and hearing about it can make you feel like a little less alone. And so that's kind of why I wanted to sit down, and also it just like really helps me to talk about it when I'm feeling that way. And like, for full disclosure, I think today is just unfortunately going to be one of those like really high anxiety days for me, which I'll get to, but why don't we just grab a snack, get comfortable, and let's get into it. Okay, so as I mentioned in the intro of this video, I do have anxiety, pretty extreme anxiety, and I've had anxiety like my whole life. Like, it was always like a running joke in my family that I was like the, sensitive one and the anxious one. Well, maybe not so much anxious, because we didn't really have a word for it back then. And there wasn't really a way to describe it, but now that, times have changed and we have more information, we're fully and completely aware that this thing is real, and whatnot. For somebody like me, my anxieties don't have a lot of rationality behind them, unfortunately, which then kind of leads me down this path of feeling like not only am I an anxious person, but I'm an irrational person and what have you. And it's a really scary and overwhelming place to sit. And that's just sort of why I wanted to sit down and talk to you guys today and let you know my experiences and how I'm handling everything that's going on, because I have a friend who, she'll be watching this, hi Christina, who also deals with anxiety, and she sort of just like asked me like a couple nights ago on video chat, like, why does it seem like you're doing so well? Like, how are you keeping yourself like mentally above water here? And I don't think she realized this, but I think that I realized in that moment that like I was putting on like a good act of keeping myself above water, but there's been a lot of moments in which like I've had bad panic attacks, or I've really had to walk myself down or calm myself down from like going like full-blown panic attack, and that's been hard. I do feel like in some capacity that like a part of me doesn't want to be on Zoloft, a part of me doesn't want to rely on something to kind of keep me level, and I have so many like memory issues that sometimes I'll forget to take it, or I think I'll forget to take it, and then like I'll have anxiety about that. Like, my anxieties just like trigger other anxieties, so having something that like I have to remember to do, even though it's so like clockwork for me, is just kind of adding to some of the anxieties I have. I actually think in a lot of ways it was a blessing that I got on it before all of this happened. Obviously none of us could have predicted what was going on, but I was very lucky in that I started my prescription probably like a month before this happened. If you're unfamiliar with Zoloft, it's just sort of like a serotonin enhancer. People take it for either anxiety issues or depression issues. If you are considering something like that right now, definitely talk to your doctor. I feel like for me it has been helpful, but I think that what's going to be the ultimate helpful is talking to a therapist. I like to have somebody kind of in a professional setting who can tell me that what I'm feeling has a meaning behind it, or why am I this way and why am I that way. and not having that like outlet, as I've realized the last couple of years without it, it doesn't really like help me. For full transparency, the reason why I'm kind of sitting down right now and having this conversation with you guys is because maybe 2 hours ago, if you didn't know, like I'm so into plants right now, like so into plants. So I went out and I treated myself to 4 plants that I've been really, really wanting for a while. One of them is behind me. It's called a bird of paradise. And I was so excited. I was so happy. I like brought it all home. It's such a beautiful sunny day. I got myself all ready, all cute. And I walked through my door and I sat everything down, and my apartment was a mess, and my apartment just felt like the walls were closing in on me, and it felt like I was overwhelmed by these giant things that I just brought into my apartment, and I had an anxiety attack, and I sat on my floor and I just cried, and I spoke to my boyfriend and I spoke to my good friend Christina, and I just let it out. I let it out, but I also breathed it out, and I feel so silly admitting this to you guys because it's like such a personal thing, and it's such a personal thing that like me struggling with anxiety, especially around change, it makes me feel really vulnerable saying that to you guys, and I think my inability to accept change or have change in any capacity right now is like really, really heightened because it comes from a place of like control and a place of feeling like comfort in my space and coddled by my space versus overwhelmed by my space. And when anything is out of place, my anxiety heightens and I got really overwhelmed, and it's like a fixation, and I have to fix it. And my body was so tired from carrying probably 40 pounds of plants back with me, and I couldn't fix anything, I couldn't move anything around, and I just got really stressed because it's like I need to find a place for these things right now or else it's not gonna feel good, and it just made everything so much worse and just led me to a place in which like I couldn't control the amount of anxiety I was feeling, and then all of these anxieties about what was going on was coming up, and feeling like trapped and feeling like I miss my friends and my family. I miss everyone, and I'm worried about everyone, and I'm worried about me, and I'm in a place where like everything was just like overwhelming me. And I don't want to like cry here, but I think it's like so important that I don't act like I'm doing peachy and everything's great, because I think that I've always felt this before scary stuff was going on outside, but I've always felt it's super detrimental to a viewer to see somebody like being peachy all the time, because it really makes you question your own, I'm not going to use the word sanity, but it makes you question your own stability and makes you feel like you should be in a better place than you are, when I think a lot of us are just really, really good at pretending. And one of the reasons why I also feel really compelled to sit here in this moment with you guys is because somebody made a comment, maybe on like a picture or an Instagram story I put up, and obviously one of my good moments, saying it's like, you make quarantine seem so cozy, but I also don't ever want to contribute to someone else's anxieties or negative emotions or feeling negatively impacted by their space or whatever. So I want you guys to know that like I am on a roller coaster of emotions and anxieties, and that is just something that maybe we need to talk about right now, and maybe we need to support each other through. I know I have days where I'm like totally chill, like I'm fine, I feel good, and I'm the one supporting and helping my friends, and there are days where like today I have to be on FaceTime or on video chat with friends like all day because like I am not okay. I don't even know necessarily what the point of this video is. They just eventually all end up coming together in the end. Except to say that like what it's like living with anxiety, it's exhausting, it's a roller coaster, and it's unpredictable, and it's also okay to admit your anxieties and your vulnerability. And I've learned that. It's been so hard, and I still have so many moments where I just don't want to tell anyone what I'm feeling because I feel so irrational. And it definitely can feel irrational, even just sitting here telling you guys, like, I had an anxiety attack about something that didn't even make sense to me. But the strangest things can trigger a deeper emotion that sometimes, in my case, I was doing everything I could to ignore. And it comes out in very strange ways. And it's not about the plants. It's about the fact that my home is somewhere that I'm trying to want to be through all of this. I'm trying so hard for this space to feel comfortable and to make me feel coddled right now. I think it's also important to remember that whatever your anxieties are, they are so real to you. They're so real to you. And no matter who you are, what they're about, they could be about the smallest little things, that they're so real to you. And by telling anybody that your anxieties don't make sense, or they're overblown, or you're overreacting, just does absolutely nothing for the person, because that is so real for them. That is such a real emotion that they are struggling to navigate. And by adding the like shame of feeling that onto them is just not a way to navigate that. Now, if you're not somebody who deals with anxieties yourself, but you might have a loved one who does, just a couple things that I can suggest that people have done for me, that I've done for friends, is first and foremost, just listen to what they're saying. Don't have to solve anything, just be a sounding board. Just let them know that it's like safe to talk to them, let them cry it out if they need someone. I mean, right now it's hard to hug people if you're not around them. Just remind them, I'm here, what you're feeling is valid, it's okay, like it's gonna be okay. And remind them to breathe, like deep breath in, deep breath out, really reminding them to concentrate on that breath if they can. And if they're being really fidgety in their body, which is something I do, like sometimes I'll just like want to pace back and forth, it doesn't help. So I have to remember to just lay down or sit down and breathe and let it kind of pass. And then also just reminding them that they're safe and that you're there with them is a really important step. One thing that my boyfriend did today, which I think was like super helpful, was me freaking out about things and freaking out about change, and which is a big deal. Like I'll want something so bad and then I'll get it, and then having it will just make me like panic, which was something moving into this apartment. I panicked for like a week because I was like, oh my God, it's different. I don't know it. Like it's not my space yet. And he just sort of reminded me like, babe, like I totally get where you're coming from. We know that change is like a big deal for you. Just try to remember that this is something that you kind of deal with in new situations. Everything feels new and overwhelming and scary, and just give it a couple days. And in a couple days, you'll look at these things, or you'll look at how your apartment has changed and really love and embrace the changes. And that was super important for me to remember, because all I could think of was, I've taken on too much. My apartment feels smaller. What am I gonna do? I even felt that way when I moved my mirror into my bedroom. Like it's just, stuff can feel really overwhelming. And I'm just talking about those as, you know, instances of like anxiety that just perks up in really, really strange ways. You know, I have anxiety about what's going on, about my parents, about me, about my friends. You know, I have anxiety about when I'm gonna be able to see my boyfriend again. And to me, those are more rational anxieties versus some of the irrational anxieties I have. So knowing the difference between the two, and then being able to kind of break down what's causing that like irrational anxiety for me, kind of helps me figure out what like the underlying issue is. And then if you are somebody who's like newly experiencing anxiety and maybe you don't have a friend or somebody to calm you down, and you've just had a panic attack or even just felt anxiety in general in a really intense way, the aftermath can just feel weird. I usually feel like pretty mute, like I won't want to speak, which is interesting that I'm even speaking to you guys right now. I'll typically just want to nap. My body will just feel very weak. I'll feel very depleted of energy. And that's when it's really important to do a couple things. And the first is make sure you're hydrated. I've got my cup here, which I keep drinking from. Hydrate yourself. Oh my God, I just got it everywhere. Hydrate yourself, because you've probably done a lot of crying and you're gonna lose a lot of water that way. And also my mouth gets pretty dry when I'm anxious and whatnot. So just hydrate yourself, eat something if you can, and do some form of self-care that has helped you in the past. And that can be anything. For me, I know it's gonna be cooking later and then taking a bath. So if you're in that position, just know it's normal and it will pass, and you're going to be safe, and you are safe, and you're totally like just riding the wave of anxiety, and it's really, really unfortunate that our bodies experience this, and we sometimes just have to remind ourselves that we're not in danger, that we're safe, or that we haven't completely messed up, or that we're trapped. A big one for me is feeling trapped. I don't really have much else to say, and to be honest with you, I just feel like I just want to go outside and go walk. Like, I'm in the self-care stage of this, but I can say that I'm pretty proud of myself for being able to talk myself down without the help of Ativan, because also Ativan is a sedative and will make you super tired, and that would have completely written off the rest of my day. So I really hope you guys liked this video, that you enjoyed this video. If there's any tips for dealing with anxiety that you have, love to hear it, and also just let us know in the comments below, because you never know who's reading it and who might be impacted in a positive way from that. I've definitely had that happen to me before from reading the comments. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up though. I will see you guys next time. Let me know what you want to see from me in my next video, which will probably be some sort of a plant tour. I know I just spoke negatively about my plants, but I love her and I will never speak negatively about her again. I will see you guys next time though, so don't forget you can find new videos from me every Wednesday and every Sunday, and new blog posts every Tuesday and every Thursday, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
My dear friend,